Welcome to the Women's Circle Interviews. Our circle interviews are designed to model possibility, increase creativity, tap into intuition, and create a network of global connection to light up the world. It's only when you realize what's possible for you that you're able to step into who you are meant to be and build the business and life of your dreams on your own terms. You are truly magnificent and designed to live a life worthy of you. It's never too late to start. Are you ready? Let's dive right in.
Welcome. My name is Dira Brown, and I'm a creator of Play It Out Loud, and I'm excited to be here today learning more about this amazing woman, Marie-Josee Borduas. And Marie-Josee is a writer and improviser. She is a possibility coach, and she's also a woman after my own heart, which means she's got a lot of other roles that she plays and gets into. She's a wife, a mother, a renovator, a soaper, a crocheter. So I'm loving that you're multi-passionate, Marie-Josee. And and you also have an impressive 20 years of experience with improv. And you've been leading improv for 3 years now, it seems like.
Yes.
So that's wonderful. So I'd love to just jump in with questions. Welcome. So glad to be interviewing you here today.
I'm glad to be here.
Great. So my first question is, what vision do you hold for the world, and what is your part in creating that vision?
Wow, like jump right.
Yeah.
Crazy. Well, my vision for the world would be that we're all open to communicating, like not only how we feel, our perspective, knowing that everyone has a different perspective to share, and be open to listening to all the perspectives being shared. So it would be this big communication fest.
Oh, I like that. And so what do you feel is your part in bringing that vision to life?
My part, I guess, my part is doing it. My part is modeling that, I create spaces where we can interact and listen to each other's ideas and contribute to the ideas. And hopefully it's a non-judgmental, non-critical space. And we use the principles of improv to contribute and to not judge and be present. So that, because really judgment happens of what happened. It happens in the past, right? So if you remain present to whatever happens and you let go of the chatter, there's less judgment. There's more openness and communication. So yeah, just modeling it.
I love that. I haven't heard it said that way, that judgment happens in the past. So being in the present moment. And so often I experience that myself, particularly I seem to have a pattern of having a really good time, like playing an improv game or doing a show. And the judgment always happens right after it's over, right? It doesn't often happen even during the show for me. It's usually right after the end of the game.
Yeah, because you're present while you're doing improv. Yeah. You're present to what's going on and what each player is contributing. But then after, you have all this time to, I should have said that, I shouldn't have done, and that's
Yeah, so true. So now that you've expressed your vision, I'm really curious, how do you think your multi-passionate explorations, because you have such a vast and diverse background. I think, you're a programmer, right? Or computer software engineer. And I'm just programmer. And I was just curious, how does all of your experience and your background, help you on this journey of realizing your vision? How do you think it helps you, or does it?
Well, I think it definitely helps me, because I know that there's nothing I can't do, because it's not that there's nothing I can't do. It's that I can do anything I'm passionate about. Anything I have interest in, I know I can do it because I just do. And I find like a lot of people are scared of dabbling into different things because I guess probably fear of failure, not being able to do it. But to me, and I have fear of failure too, but to me, I just know that because I've had, whenever I have an interest in something, I just jump right in, and I have so much behind me that I know like there is no such thing as failure. Like it's just, to me, it's just passion, and I get out of these things my contribution. So you can't fail. It's not there's not a way that you can fail. Like to me, failure is when it's other people's standard. So because I love carpentry, I love to work with wood, but I do it for me, and it's not like I'm an expert carpenter, but I know when I do it for me, I've got this satisfaction feeling. I feel like I'm in biblical times working wood. It's like this old ancient thing. For whatever reason, it just feels like it's part of us, this carpentry, like working with wood. I don't know why, but when somebody comes in and then judges, like, oh, and it's not necessarily judgment, but their opinion or whatever it is, oh, that's not, this is not quite right or whatever. It's like, that's what failure is. Like believing what somebody else is saying about your work. Because if you're in your zone and you're doing your thing and you're getting the satisfaction out of it that you wanted, there's no such thing as failure. So
I heard you say something in that your answer there about you get your contribution out of it, and is that what you mean by that? Is you get your satisfaction, or tell me more about what that means to you?
Yeah, to me, like it's what you put in, the contribution part. What you put in, you get out, right? But when you're it's the comparison too, right? When you're comparing to, if I'm doing some wood project, and then I compare it to somebody else, that's where you start to get that feeling of dissatisfaction, right? Like, oh, it's not as good. But if you're in your zone, you're doing your thing, and all you want is that satisfaction of, getting out of your head, like, you're building something or you're creating something, you have an idea and you materialize it and you stay there, that is success to me. And that's what I get out of all these arts, like whether I'm crocheting or making soap or making bread or whatever. It's like I get that the passion of the art. It's only when, if you're looking at Facebook or Instagram, it's like, oh, their loaf of bread looks so much better than mine. It looks squishy.
Right.
Then you start this judgment thing. But to me, I know, because it's been a while, I guess. I know that it doesn't matter how everybody else is doing it. I just know what I get out of it when I'm doing it. It's not the end result. Like, it's not how much better it is from everybody else. It's the feeling I get when I'm putting myself into that craft. That's all that matters. And I do have to remind myself, I am human. But, because you do compare and you do see what other people are doing, and then it's like, oh, maybe I'm not that good and I shouldn't be doing this. But it's such a lie, because I know when I'm doing it, how much I get out of it.
Yeah. Well, can you tell me more about that feeling? What is that feeling that you get when you're immersed?
Well, satisfaction is what comes to mind first. Like, I mean, it was like this heart swelling, and I labeled that as satisfaction. But it's just, to me, it's like a joy of living. Like, it's a joy of participating in life, not just being a bystander or watching what other people are doing. Like, I'm jumping in and I'm getting my hands dirty, and it's like, carpentry, sure, let me try. Working on a roof, sure, let me try. Like sculpting, sure, let me try. Because we're here for a short while, right? And you can watch other people do it, or you can jump into the arena, do it. So satisfaction for me is the word I like, the feeling I attach to it.
Yeah. I'm just noticing in my own body that, like, the word satisfaction, also the word savoring comes up. It's like, as soon as I feel satisfaction, I also kind of want to, like, really hang out in that yummy, like just getting like a full body aliveness right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what I like about you so much. What I admire is that you savor. I'm just,
Mm.
it's like, okay, I'm going so, I'm a yes and. Okay,
Yep.
yes, let's.
Yes, let's. Yes, let's.
And I
Wonderful.
don't
Well,
take the time, like, okay, we're here now. Like, what does that feel like?
I love that you jump in, like, oh, this thing? Yeah, let's do it. Because I mean, I also love to try new things, and it feels like so much fun, and it's thrilling to just jump in and be a part of something. And I'm curious how how do you think improv can either, help people with, letting go of judgment, letting go of failure, and jumping in simply to enjoy the participation and the satisfaction.
To me, I think it happens over time. Like, it's something you practice, right? I tend to say, like, in my garden, I got this principle from my garden years ago, but I spent a lot of time pulling out weeds. And at some point, I decided that's not what I wanted to do anymore. There's no satisfaction in pulling out weeds. There was a lot more satisfaction in planting the plants I wanted to see grow. And I decided that from now on, I'm not pulling out a weed unless there's something I want to plant there. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
only going to plant the things I want to plant, to the point where, now my garden is weed free and it's just bursting at the seams with everything I want in it. And I figured out over time, our mind is the same way. We tend to spend a lot of time saying, I don't want that, I don't want that, I don't want that, I don't want that. But by doing that, you're putting attention onto it, as opposed to, I want this, I want this, I want this, and forget about all the stuff you don't want. It's naturally going to fall away when you're not paying attention to it and you're focusing on what you do want. And that's what I find improv does. It's the practice of yes and, what, like, adding onto what I want. And it's, so whenever you spend that time, even though it seems like we're just having fun and playing, but what you're really practicing is, what do I want now? What do I want now? What do I want now? And there's no time to, oh, I don't want this, I don't want this. So over
Mm-hmm.
time, it naturally will fall away, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm just thinking about in any given moment in improv, there's maybe even thousands of things that you could say yes and to, right? There's a whole array, people's body language, emotion, what they said, the temperature, like there's just all these things that you can say yes and to. And I agree, and I think improv in particular lets people focus on the thing that you want to say yes and to, right? Don't focus on the thing because otherwise then you're going to say no. If I don't want that, then I'm going to end up saying no to it.
Yeah.
But if
And you also touched on possibility there, because there's so
yeah.
much that you can cue into. You also realize all the possibilities, because we
Mm-hmm.
often too, we'll be stuck in, we're limited. It's this or that. But
Yes.
improv really practices the art of so much, like there's so much there for you as material. So it's yes and I think we talked about this in another conversation, but it was like yes and then this expansive options,
Yeah.
possibility.
Yeah. So maybe you could tell us more about how do you open? Is it simply the words yes and do it for you, or is there something else that you do to open up to the possibility? Or I'm getting the visual of broadening my awareness so that I can include more possibilities.
Yeah, well, I think when you're in the moment with improv, in that moment, I think it's really just a practice
Mm.
of trusting whatever comes next. So I don't think I spend a lot of time really knowing what, it's not something I would know. But then I think it in my real life, it helps me realize, okay, what am I not seeing? Like, what other possibilities are there? Because it's not just this or that. There's way more. But when I'm in improv, I think it's more automatic that I'm not thinking about, okay, what am I not seeing? It's more, you know, picking something from the many things that are being offered. It's more like I'm more on autopilot, I would say, when I'm practicing. But I also, because
Yeah.
maybe improv, there's no right or wrong. So that
Yes.
gives you
Yeah.
that, like, it's, you know, it's okay. It doesn't matter. There's no, you know, you're not going to make a mistake because there's no right or wrong.
Right.
Whereas in life, maybe there's more of that processing because you're trying to get something right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. I think the biggest context like buster of improv, like this just shifts the context of right and wrong. And um and to be able to carry that into our own lives just immediately, right, takes us from this or that, right or wrong,
Yeah.
to oh my gosh, there's so much more beyond right and just right and wrong. So yeah, totally.
Yeah. 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 In improv, I can't say, because right now I'm not on the
Hmm.
spot, but in improv, I'm not so concerned about getting it wrong. I trust.
Yep.
I'm much more focused when I'm improvising on just trusting whatever is coming up and expressing it, even if it's
Mm,
not right. It doesn't sound right. I would never say that in real life, or I'm not even following the exercises, but that's what's coming up. So I'm just going to let it out. I just trust,
yep.
like, I practice that. I practice trust whatever is coming up.
Yeah. So then tell me, because I think that leads into this, like how do feelings, you know, you said here like feelings help you navigate your life. And so how do feelings play a role in your life and how you navigate? It sounds like maybe they help you navigate improv and possibility. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, I think, well, feelings, because we tend to be told, you know, it's not appropriate to feel this, or, you know,
Mm,
you shouldn't cry right now, or, you know, it's not a right time. Whatever it is that we've encountered in our lives, like, we're not allowed to feel. But again, when you turn like to things like improv, there's no right or wrong. And
mhm.
and it really allows you to get in touch with what it is you're feeling. I don't know how to explain that one. Um, but I do find like doing feeling work. It's like the what comes up for me is like doing feeling work begets feeling work. It's like the more you,
Yep.
the more you allow, like you allow yourself to tune into what it is that you're feeling, the more you notice what it is you're feeling, if that
Yep.
made any sense. Because I think like we come from, I do anyway, from suppression of feelings. So you don't even know what you're feeling. It's
Yeah.
just a confusion. But the more that you say, I'm feeling this, and you allow that to be expressed, then the more you get in tune to, okay, I'm just feeling this way right now. And it's okay for me to be feeling this way. It's
Yeah. And how does that, just knowing what you're feeling, having that be okay, how does that help you um, either make choices or see possibility? How does that help you navigate your life?
to me, it's more of the not, I'm going to use the negative, but it's like the not suppressing is what helps me navigate my life.
Hmm.
Because yeah, I don't know how to explain it in the positive, but I find when I'm suppressing, it also suppresses my clarity.
Hmm. Yeah.
Options. It limits options,
Yep.
right? But when I'm allowed to feel a certain way, and I'm okay with feeling that way, and I know it's okay for me to feel that way, then that opens up possibility. That
Yeah.
there's not, it's like yeah, you're suppressing your emotions is somehow working with your perception of life. So when you're suppressing and this is not okay, that's not okay, then everything seems more limited.
Hmm.
But when things are okay, you allow yourself to express and notice and feel, and it's okay if you don't know what you're feeling, but you're open to noticing it. To me, is what expands your perception, your field of view.
Yeah. Yeah. Really, I totally feel that. And there's something about the flow of feelings, right? This is what I'm hearing. The flow of feelings helps expand perception. And even though things like intuition and creativity may not be considered like a feeling, I kind of, I think they go together. And
I do.
so if they all kind of flow out of the same spot or the
Yeah.
same hose or through the same hose. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, so like when I'm suppressing that, when I'm resisting a feeling, I'm also shutting off my own creativity and shutting off my intuition.
Yeah. And now hearing you say that, it makes so much sense. Like I know you mirrored what I said, but it makes
Yeah.
so much sense hearing you say it all of a sudden, because like people say, energy or emotions are energy. And when
Mhm.
you were talking just now, I got that that mental image of energy as in, let's say, a light bulb. If you cut that flow, you suppress that energy, there's no
Yep.
light.
Oh, I love that. Yeah,
Yeah.
you got tingles. Yeah.
We can see energy like in the form of a light bulb, right? But
Yeah.
we don't see energy in the form of emotions, but it's the same thing. If you suppress that energy,
Yeah.
then you get limited perspective because the energy is not flowing anymore.
Yeah. So we get to cast our own light and see more.
Again, I love the way you say it. Yes,
Exactly.
cast our own light by allowing the energy to flow.
Wow. Yeah, precisely. I'd love to hear more about how this became important to you. How did your vision, come about?
Wow. Like you're throwing me back 20 years ago now.
All right, let's do it.
Roughly 20 years ago, I was in a really bad controlling relationship at the time. And whatever intuition, inspiration, whatever was in me, it was just like this desperation is what I felt. But it was like, I need to add fun in my life. Like I need something. I need light.
Yeah, I need light. Yeah.
And for whatever reason, I don't know if I was walking by an improv studio or if I saw a sign. Like I don't remember any of that. For me, my memory is improv popped into my head and me going like, what? That's ridiculous. Like, I don't stage. I don't want to act like, no, not that much fun. Right? Not that right. But then like I just remember walking to the studio. So I don't, my memory is not 100% perfect, but I remember after that thought, I need to have fun and improv, not that much fun, but okay, let's check it out. Even back then, I was a yes and person, even though it's like, I don't know about this, but okay, Anyway, and I walked into the studio, and it just being in the studio felt like home. Like it was like I
Oh,
had
wow.
just arrived, like the way the people interacted with each other, and it was so light. It was just amazing. It was, yeah, I haven't looked back.
Yeah. I'm having the thought back to like the one of the initial things you said, which talked about open communication, and I'm getting, hearing collaboration, and I'm wondering, I'm just like, oh, I wonder if you felt that when you walked in there of like, oh,
Yeah.
wow, these people can really like
Yeah.
connect and collaborate with each other. Ooh, this
Yeah.
is possible.
No, exactly. Everyone, the way people were communicating, it was just very open and honest. It
Hmm.
it didn't have that vibe. Sometimes you walk somewhere and you can feel like the air feels thick. Like you can
Mm.
sense like people are not in the same wavelength. But walking in there, it was just like the air was fresh. People they weren't on stage, but in my mind, this memory, it was basically I walked into a musical. I don't
Yeah.
know what's going on. Right? It wasn't, it was people working in an office and they took my information.
Angel started singing and oh, like that.
But that's what my memory makes
Yeah.
it seem like. That's the impression I got, that it was just this.
Wow.
Yeah. it's crazy because, you know, even I see it as brighter. Like when I stepped in, the lights were brighter, like the colors were more vivid, you know, people were happier. Like, yeah,
Wow.
it was like I walked into this musical.
Wow.
I can't explain it other than that. My memory may be faulty, but that's how I remember it. You know, it's like this gray. I was like walking on this gray street, black and white movie. I walked into this colorful musical.
I
And I
I
just knew, and I just, yeah, and I just knew, like, I mean, not, it wasn't that day because I went back obviously for the classes, but I
right.
just knew when I was doing the classes that even though it's like, oh, I'm just having fun for an hour, it's insignificant. Like your brain kind of wants to reason that out. But I knew it was permeating in my life. Like I felt like I was a different person when I walked out of there than when I was walking in. So I wanted to keep doing it because of that effect.
Wow.
Like starting to color my life.
Wow. Yeah, I love too that you, even though you had maybe a judgmental voice of, yeah, not that much fun, you know,
Mm.
you followed, like there was this opening that you noticed, and you're like, I'm gonna follow that opening, and
Uh-huh. I
wow.
think because I mean, even back then, like I've always had a lot of different hobbies and a lot of different interests and person.
Hmm.
I just had a gray life, a grim life, even though I was a yes and person. I think the people in my life maybe were too controlling and judgmental.
Mm,
Whereas now, like because there's more freedom now, I get to appreciate my interests versus before it was like, oh, I'm not that good. I'm not that good at this. You know, it was more gray.
yeah. Do you think that improv is healing? Do you think that improv,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's so many benefits to improv. For like definitely for me in my life. I mean, I know the huge difference that improv has made to, like I mean, now it's the image I have in my head, but really adding color, different perspective, like different, I don't know, like even playfulness. Like we're playful beings, and we forget that because, you know, as children we're naturally playful, right?
Yeah.
And then we forget that for whatever reason as we grow up, it's just no longer appropriate to be
Yeah.
playful, but we're still playful. We always have that child. I mean, even now there's like child work that we do, right? Your inner child.
Hmm.
There's always that child that we're carrying with us, and that child wants to play.
Yeah.
It's important to give that child that room. Free your
Yeah.
inner child.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit more about the kind of spaces that you create so people can, bring out their inner child and play. Like what are you offering right now?
Well, I do improv sessions pretty much every week. I've broken it out into 8 different themes. And originally I did that because I wanted, you know, when people show up expecting something, I wanted to
Mhm.
deliver that, right? And I wanted to explore these different areas of improv. So not just improv for play, which I do also, but, you know, exploring emotions or opening up to possibility, dream building improv, busting
Mm,
limiting beliefs, because again, I think limiting beliefs is, you know, when we limit ourselves is not looking at possibility, which improv helps as you practice to open up to that yes and concept of there's all these other options. I started doing writing because I'm trying to write a few books. I thought it
mm.
would be great to write as a group, and since writing is improvised art, I thought that would be great. And that's actually my favorite one, writing improv. I can't think of others, but I know I have 8 different
Yeah.
themes that we circle through. I sort of step forward. This is needed. It's the whole yes and, right? This is needed. Okay, I need this. I need this. And I create these groups based on really my needs. But I find people that the feedback is usually, wow, like I really like that you broke out these 2 themes. And when I showed up at this, I got exactly what I thought I was gonna get. So
Wonderful.
Yeah, to me, that's like,
Yeah.
oh, great.
Yeah.
I don't want to mislead anybody.
Right, right. Yeah, I hear that. I hear that. It sounds like you don't, I even heard the word impose, like you don't want to be an imposition. You don't want to just be like, here, this is this thing that I think is important, so you should do it. You
Yeah,
want to invite people, like, here's what I'm playing. And,
yeah,
playfulness really is all about inviting and including. And so that makes a lot of sense to me.
yes. No, exactly. I mean, you said it way better than me, but exactly that was my intent is I want to play this and I want
Yeah.
you to be clear on what I'm playing. So if you want to come along, I'm not taking you on some wild ride that you didn't sign up for.
Yeah. I'm curious, what do you think is needed to create the change that you want to see in the world? What do you think is needed?
Well, I think we kind of touched on it. I
Hmm.
would say to me is just be an example of that change. So like
Yeah.
at the beginning of my improv sessions, we always go through like our intent for being there. And then I always advise people to bring that intention in. So if they think something is missing, then they bring it into it so it's not missing anymore, right? And I think when we focus on what needs to change, we often are pointing fingers outward, but really is when we embody or do or intend to do whatever it is that we think is lacking, then it's no longer lacking. And if we were all doing that,
Yeah.
there wouldn't be any lack.
Wow. Okay. Moving forward, what is one new choice that you are willing to make to ensure that your, genius is serving you and others
One new
in the
choice.
world? One new
One new
choice.
choice. One new choice implies a choice I haven't made yet, right?
Yeah.
One new choice. This is a big one.
Or maybe it's a grow, and maybe it's an edge. It's something that you're starting to choose, and you want to grow that choice.
Yeah. The only thing that comes up for me is trust,
Yeah.
just trusting. And I don't know that it's a new choice. Maybe it's a choice that we're constantly redoing. That's why it's new. But
Mm-hmm.
really just trusting.
Yeah. What are you trusting?
Um, trusting to me, everything, when you said that, everything bombarded me, but it's trusting
Oh.
myself, like
Hmm.
trusting the universe, trusting if you believe in a higher power, trusting that higher power. If you believe, like if you have a good, strong family, trust your family. Like trust when people mirror something to you that you need to see it. Just trust whatever is hitting you. Trust it.
Trust it. Yeah. And I see you like, here it comes. All right, let's play with this. I'm going to trust that this is what I'm going to play with right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like, and I say that because sometimes, we're reluctant to, somebody will say something to us and we're reluctant to believe what they're saying because we don't see it, right? But we all have blind spots and you can't trust like what the news is saying, say, but you should have a circle of trust. There should be people that if they
Mm,
bring something to you, you know that, okay, I need to look at that. And it's not judgmental. It's not being critical. It's really just, hey, we're helping each other and trusting that wherever we need to get to, we'll get to, and together, right? Like I had sent you
yeah.
that proverb: if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, go together.
Awesome. Yeah, for sure. And I think that those are perfect words to wrap up on. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for inviting me to do this with you.
Thank you for offering to interview me. That's awesome. Marie-Josee welcomes you to join her groups. She's created spaces to practice improv, meditation, and life mastery together. All the tools she thinks are essential to creating a life beyond your wildest imagination. Find out more at www.awakken.com. That's awaken with 2 Ks. If you haven't already, be sure to join our women's circle, Awaken Feminine, to reclaim your authentic voice through play. We meet to create connection, elevate, and celebrate each other through games and exercises geared to tap into our intuition and give voice to our longings and desires. If you have a gift you want to share with the world, I encourage you to schedule an interview with me so I can help you spread your unique message and perspective. You don't need any superpowers or be well on your way. You just need to have an idea, a vision, or a direction that you think will inspire others. And if no one told you today, I want you to know that you're amazing. Continue to live with passion, purpose, and presence. The world needs to see your light shine brightly as an example to others of what is possible for them also.